Hello everyone, I'm but an awkward comrade. I welcome you all to subscribe, queens, peens, and everything in between. So let's get into it. We get time to get into it. Before I get into the video, I just want to specify by saying it would mean so much if people subscribe to my YouTube channel that I have here. What's happening right now is because my channel hasn't been growing. All of my videos are being buried in search engines, so it's making it even more difficult for people to find me, for me to grow supporters, to get my androgynous brand growing, etc. And so basically, it just kind of feels like I'm doing a lot of videos and it's like no one's gonna find them. So with that being said, I just want to get into the video and with the Last Supper out of the way, mind you, we are going to be discussing Dragula Season 4 spoilers, but with the reunion, aka The Last Supper out of the way, we now have full context on the Sigourney Beaver hate train that has been going on this season. It's disgusting, it's very petty, and honestly, there's no justification for it. So, throughout the season, we are constantly given these vague comments about how Sigourney's fake by Mary Cherry, Zava, and Bitter Betty. There's this constant throwing around of she's there to play a game, etc. But very rarely do we ever get comments or really in depth about where all this animosity is coming from. And we find out that there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes in the way of drama due to the fact that these queens all share and stay at the same house. Now, it was revealed early on this season that a lot of them are basically staying at the same house, and that's where a lot of this drama unfolds. Now, prior to this season, Sigourney loses her mom literally right before she finds out that she's getting on the show. And so it puts her in this headspace of kind of wanting to be distant, having a lot of time to herself. And because of that distance, Bitter Betty, Mary Cherry, and Zavaleta think that she's avoiding them, that she has something against them, that she's playing a game. And I absolutely can't stand when people do this shit. When they think that just because you want to keep your distance or you're more to yourself, that you're there, you have something against them, or there's drama, and then when they try to open up to you or relate with you on certain levels and you don't open up to them in the way that they want, or that they feel that they are owed your attention, that they feel that there's some drama there or there's a problem. And that's pretty much what's going on here. It's pretty much a bully tactic. It's like, you couldn't relate or become a friend of her in the way that you thought. You felt like she was owed your attention because you were trying to relate with her. And so because she wasn't giving you what you wanted, you then decided to team up with Zavaleta, Bitter Betty, Mary Cherry. All three of them decided to team up and make Sigourney's time on this season a living hell. And so whilst the other queens were spending time with each other, Zavaleta, Bitter Betty, and Mary Cherry felt obligated to Sigourney's attention, all because other queens were spending time with each other, which I felt was very fucking petty. They bring up multiple examples about how they had a moment talking about their dead trauma bonding, and therefore Mary Cherry believed that because her mother died and Sigourney's mother died, that means they should be great friends now, right? But imagine with how petty Mary had been this season, that Mary would use that to just maybe share tea on Sigourney, People can, at the end of the day, this is a competition. where everyone's here for a reason. And it's just so petty that people want to use, literally this is high school shit, that people want to use someone being distant, they want to misconstrue that to say that they have ill intent when they're just minding their own business, like Coco said. There's even a moment where Jade brings up that how them going at Sigourney will make her look like a victim, and Mary Cherry and the the other three basically, or the other two, basically take that and run with this idea that Sigourney's trying to play victim. It's just so petty when you think about it. When I got more context on what was going on, it made me lose absolute respect in terms of the show. Now, me talking about this, I don't want you all to go and send these people hate. Don't do none of that. I'm just talking in context of the show. Outside of the show, their lives are their lives, okay? So I wrote here, just to iterate, the queens believe Sigourney is completely fake because she isn't opening up to them due to grieving and not being open with them, spending much of her time distant from the others. This leads to the queens to speculate rumors and ultimately assume Sigourney is scheming or playing a game. Pretty much. And that's basically it. I mean, I didn't really need to go into it as much as I just did, but that's just the whole story for you guys, for you all. What went down is Sigourney decided to keep her distance. She, lost her mom, and she just kept her distance. And a couple of queens assumed that she was playing a game, that she was being fake, that she had something against them, and so they manifested that energy into being passive aggressive, to going at her every moment they had. And it just ultimately made them look bad because Sigourney really wasn't reciprocating any of that negative energy. She wasn't here for it. And what it did was it actually made more of the fan base rally behind Sigourney. And so when Mary, with what also basically played in like what basically backlashed against these contestants is also that they weren't delivering in terms of the contest, and Sigourney was serving glam, and giving them nothing but kindness with what they were throwing at her. Honestly, Sigourney handled this situation the best that I ever possibly would, because I would fucking snap. She had a couple of moments too, but the way they were going at her was so uncalled for, and it's so petty why they were going at her. Honestly, if you feel there's a problem, instead of being passive aggressive, talk to the person and handle it. If you don't want to see eye to eye, move the fuck on. But the fact that you folks decided to be passive aggressive to her every episode was so pathetic, and it ultimately backfired. And on top of that, to not deliver in terms of the contest only made things worse when you're trying to bully someone on a show like this, basically. So basically, that's just the gist of this whole drama feud or whatever. I'm but an awkward comrade. I welcome you all to subscribe. Queens, peens, and everything in between. And here on this channel, I focus on Dragula. I'm a Dragula super fan, and queer wellness. So stick around for the journey, and I'll see you all in the next one. Good night.